All right, ladies and gentlemen, Baron here. So the dev server is up. The Way of the Samurai patch 1.65 is being showcased on the dev server. And if you look at this right here, where are my tanks? I've never had to do tanks. Let's see what is the Japanese hangar looking like? All right, so the first Japanese tank we're gonna see right now is the Hago. Look at this little thing. Ooh, 12 millimeters. Yeah. All right, but seriously though, look at this. We've got a fleshed out tech tree all the way up to battle rating 8.0, finalizing here in the Type 74. Let's take a look at this bad boy. So we're gonna cover the Japanese tech tree in a little bit. Right now, it is time to show off some of the other things. We're gonna get to the Japanese in a moment, but let's cover the Russians real quick. Like, those aren't Russians, those are Germans. Is there anything new here? No, there's nothing new right now. Okay, so here we go. You Russians, look at this. Object 906. Look at this baby. The amphibious 85 millimeter with a D70 cannon. This thing's gonna be pretty cool. Object 906, 30 millimeters of thickness at its best. It's got a relatively low silhouette though, I kind of like, but the rest of its relatively boxy. Turret is very, very small. There's only 3 crew members in all of this, so one shot right here, those 2 guys are dead and the whole tank is knocked out. So let's go ahead and go back. We've got a couple of other things. We've also got the ZIS 43, which I think is going to be one of my favorite looking vehicles, because look at it. It's kind of the half-track, like, armored car, basically Russian armored car. Then they put a half-track, and then they've got the SPAAG, that ZIS 43 on the back there. 37 millimeter 61K cannon. This thing looks awesome. I love the way this thing looks. It is beautiful. So there's also some updates to the IS-1, IS-4, ISU-122, and 122S, ISU-152, and the T-54s, basically all of them, 47, 49, and 51 versions. So let's go on to Britain, where we're going to have a Sherman 2 added, which is just the 75mm M. I think this is the M4A1 Sherman that is now in the British main tree between the Cromwell and the Sherman Firefly. They did use lots of Shermans, so I guess it's fitting that it is in the main tree as opposed to a premium vehicle, because I don't think there'd be too many people that would buy the Sherman 2 if it was a premium. That's just my thoughts on the matter. So, Japan, look at this. We've got the light tank tech tree. We've got mediums, which goes all the way up. And you do have some destroyers here only going up to tier 3 with the NATO. Here armed with a 75 millimeter, and we do have some SPAAGs, and I think that the only heavy tank is the German Tiger export, the heavy tank number 6 with its 88 millimeter KWK 36. So look at that, the M42 Duster. That's going to be the interesting thing about Japan, and you can kind of see it in other areas, is that it's going to have a mix of a little bit, maybe some very, very light German influence like this Tiger tank, and then when you get to the topper tiers you might see a little bit more American vehicles like we do with the M42 Duster right now, which I think is not a very good. Look at that, you got the Walker Bulldog. What is this, a Type 60 recoilless rifle? Holy shit, look at this thing. That thing is, you know what, I kind of want to test drive this thing right here. Oh, I can't test drive it? That's some poop right there, guys. We're going to have to buy all these things in order to do it. But now, moving on. We're going to see if there's any aviation going on. Is this new? N1K1 Kyofu. We've got a J1N1. Is this new? I rarely touch Japan, perfectly honest with you. Alright, so we've got the Key 102 as a premium for 1,000 Golden Eagles. We're just going to go ahead and preview that thing. We can test fly it if one was so inclined, but it's got 220 millimeters and 212.7s. You can see right there some statistics. Let's see if we got any armor. Ooh, so the X-ray. Here we go. What are these? The 20 mils are going to be synchronized firing through the propeller. The 12.7s here over in the wings. So moving on. We also have the N1K1 Mod 11 right here, which is the naval plane. And then we also have the BF-109E7 replacing the BF-109E3 over here in premium. If you already bought it, it'll be replaced. If you don't, you're going to have to buy it to get the BF-109E7. So moving on to, let's go with the Americans here. We've got the B-34 being added. And let's go ahead and preview this bad boy. Looks very similar to the B-18. Very bulbous. How is its defensive armament? Let's take a look. We've got two 12.7s. We've got two 7.62s as offensive armament. So you've got 4 machine guns, and then your defensive machine guns, it looks like you've got twin 50 cals and twin 30 cal machine guns, and you can carry a bomb load of, it looks like, what, 2,500 pounds of bombs. And then you can also carry torpedoes, so that's pretty cool. It looks rather nice, very big, very large, similar to the B-18 Bolo here, and that's the one it follows. So, and then we've also got, this is going to be pretty interesting, man. This thing's going to wreck some stuff. It is, in fact, the F6F5N. This one's got 20 millimeters, 2 20s, and 4 50 cal machine guns. This thing is going to rip stuff up. Let's look at the modifications. You can also carry 2 Tiny Tims, torpedoes, bombs, and rockets. This thing is a beast. Almost as good as the P-47 in terms of like its carrying load. But now that it's got these twin 20s, this thing is going to be a pretty popular plane, I'm fairly certain. And then we've also got the F6F3 is being replaced by the F6F5. Now, how does that differ? I think there's probably a few, there's going to be a little bit of stat changes associated with that. So that is the Americans. Let's move on to the Germans here. We've got a HE100D1. This thing looks beautiful. I'm tempted to test fly this just because of how sexy that thing looks. Look at that. It's armed with relatively light machine guns, though. You've got 3 8mm machine guns on it, 1 in the propeller here. Let's go ahead and do X-ray mode. So 1 right through the nose, and then 2, it looks like they'll be synchronized given how close they are to the propeller. So there you go. Let's see. Yeah, 500 rounds, and then, yeah, 500 rounds per gun on all 3. So that is the HE100D1. Now we've got the TA154A1 Premium. Here, look at this bad boy. Man, 1,450 Golden Eagles for this bad boy. Look at it. Dude, it's amazing. I'm pretty sure that this is another vehicle that was built by, I think it may have been Nova, but it was someone on Live.War Thunder. And it's cool to see, you know, the rev share program going on. So we've got 2 30mm. They're MK108s, not MK103s. So what we want to do is see the penetrating ability on them. It's relatively insignificant, and the offensive 20s for armored targets is relatively insignificant as well. So this is going to be a plane killer, not necessarily a ground, you know, ground and pound going on right here. Looks beautiful. Man, that is an awesome looking cockpit right there. I wonder if it has cockpit mode. But this is just a, you know, kind of a survey, a preview of these vehicles. We've got a Junkers 88 C6A, and the Junkers 88 model has been updated. So here is the Junkers 88A and A4. But if you go over here, you've got the Junkers 88 C6. Now this is what? This is kind of like on the attackers. So let's see. Let's go ahead and preview this bad boy. Oh yeah, look at that. It's got this like gun pod gondola on the bottom there. So when we go to X-ray, we can get a feel. So that is 2 forward-facing 20mm. We've got some 8mm. Wait a minute. Was that additional 20s? 8 mil, 3 8 mils in the nose, a 120 as well. Oh man, this thing is a beast. Okay, so when we go to the modifications, you've got offensive 20 millimeters and 8 millimeters. I think it's 3 of each, pretty much. 120 millimeter MGFF, 220 millimeter MGFFMs, and then 3 8 millimeters. And then defensive armament, it looks like you've got quite a bit there. What was it? Turret times 2. So there's 3 machine guns in 3 turrets. No, my math is wrong. Pretty sure that's 4 machine guns. You've got a twin, and then some singles there, dude. This thing's interesting. And then you can carry, isn't it? You can carry 20 50 pounds. So may not want to go with that, but it's a really interesting. I'm wondering if we're gonna get the Junkers when they start adding some of the bigger guns on it, man. So then we've got some updated models for the Junkers 88A4 and the Heinkel 111, the H3 and the H16 models. Now we're going to move on to the Russians, who have a Tu-14 being added. You can see right here, this thing is just, it's huge. It's huge. And you can carry torpedoes. So it's a jet bomber with torpedoes. And it looks like you can carry 3,000 pounds of ordnance at its greatest, including the 3,000 kilograms. Let's go ahead and preview this bad boy. This thing is huge. These are all the things that are going to be coming. Look at that thing. Can you imagine a torpedo right under this thing? Dropping it. Jet torpedo bomber. Pretty excited for that. Is it going to be another IL-28 with its rear gun just chewing up everything? Let's see. Does it have any offensive armament? Yes, it does. It's got those twin 23 millimeter NR-23s. And then 2 in the back, so very, very similar to the IL-28 in terms of offensive and defensive capabilities, though it is larger, and it can carry torpedoes, so you gotta love that. And then we've got a nice premium down here in the lower ranks. We've got a Hampton TB Mark 1. Hampton. Preview. Look at this. Is this Hampton? Makes me think it's like British. Yeah, it's got 7.7 millimeter Brownings, and then it's got upgraded. It's got some Russian machine guns, then some Brownings again, and then some Vickers. So I would definitely guess that this is a British plane. That I don't know if it was Lend-Lease or one of those. You know, when bomber crews landed in Russia, they were sent home, but they weren't sent home with their aircraft, as Stalin loved to keep that stuff and put it in line of duty with Russian crews. So look at this, man. Let's go to the X-ray mode. We've got it just says defensive armament. Interesting. But yeah, this thing is kind of like a porcupine relative to its battle rating of 1.7. It's got some decent amount of some defensible guns. You do have one forward-facing 7.7 right here with 300 rounds. So that is pretty much all of the new aircraft, except for the British. I know you guys were... Look at this. So we do have the Hamptons here. We've got 2, the TB Mark 1s. Mark 1 and a TB Mark 1. Now, what does that mean? Just torpedo bomber? I would imagine. Yeah, you can go torpedo. And can you do torpedo with this one? You can. I don't know what TB means. Total biscuits, because he's British, and so is this. We've got a new Sunderland. We've got a Sunderland Mark 5. Now, where is it in relation to the other Sunday? It is above it, so 0.3. What is the difference? I wonder if it's just bomb load, because it's got 2 50 cals. Okay, so it does have 2 50 cals on it. Let's go ahead and compare the bomb loads real quick. You can carry 4 500s or 8 250s, relatively. And what do we got here? The same. So I believe it's just the defensive armament. Now you have these 12.7s sitting there. And there might be some additional... no, I don't want to test fly that just yet. Preview. Look at this bad boy. It's gorgeous. Now, where are the 50 cals? In the back here? X-ray. Defensive armament. So we've got a twin 50 cal. I wonder if it's this one. Normally you can tell just by visually looking at it. Is it in the front? Dude, this is a beautiful aircraft. I love how just like silly this thing is. This was one of my favorite vehicles when it came out in the patch. It looks like if you look closely, this is a giant swimming pool as well for the crew inside. So that's nice. It's got probably some increased morale. We've got the two Hamptons. We have the Hellcat F Mark II is replacing the Hellcat F Mark I. And we do have some model updates to the Spitfire Mark 1A and Mark 2A. So ladies and gentlemen, that is everything that is pretty much up on the dev server right now. 1.65.1.14. If you'd like to see more updates, obviously stay tuned to the channel because we will cover them. And let me know in the comments below which vehicle you want me to take out first. I'm pretty sure we're going to be going down this Japanese tank tree line because that's the new stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Baron. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.